Yeah, that's right. We're playing Exceed. It's been a while. We had multiple tournaments come to a crashing halt, and now we're starting fresh this year. I mean, it might be March, but it's early enough. So today, we're going to be watching longtime players and both reasonably good players, Rose and Banazama, playing against each other in Harry Potter's wonderful tournament of showing off every single character in Exceed. Or at least, like, half the characters. Tournament rules are kind of exciting, but also kind of complicated. Each player is on a team with two other players, and they have to effectively go one-on-one against an opposing team's player. They get a roster of 12 with 4 picks from seasons 3, 4, and 5. And they have to play one representative from each season in each match. And on top of that, each representative can only be played once during the entire tournament. So, this being a 3-round tournament, that means that, 9 of the characters that a player picks will be played out of the 12 that they pick. So, overall, kind of complicated, kind of exciting. I guess we'll see how well it works in practice. It's certainly an experimental format, and I love myself experimental formats. Let's look at the players setting up. I'll also be putting rosters on screen for both players just so we can take a peek at what they got. You know, as long as I don't screw it up, of course, which I seem to be right now. These are the player rosters that we have available for both players. And it looks like first game will be played between Noel and King Knight. So it's been a while since I've seen both of these players play Exceed, honestly. Vanna has been a longtime player who I've engaged with in both tournaments and in playtesting, but I don't remember what he plays like. And Rose also is a longtime player who I've interacted with in various events, but trying to remember my interactions with individual people works out better when I interact with them on a daily basis. Otherwise, my brain's just like, oh, I recognize that name, or I recognize that face. I have no idea who this person is. You should see me at family reunions. It's terrible. I don't even want to know what my school reunions would be like. Like, look at that guy. I know that guy. He was a cool bro. Let's peek at what we are looking at for text. Alright, looks like the players will be using text chat, so I will be popping that open every so often to spy on what they're talking about. So this should be an interesting match. Noel as a character is one that I'm not the hugest fan of, but she is capable of ending games pretty quickly when she pops off. Noel is a extremely resource-starved character and is very reliant on having gauge available to either spend on her Exceed mode or to spend on her ultras. She'll be primarily throwing mix-ups at King Knight. King Knight, on the other hand, has fairly straightforward and reliable attacks and doesn't really have a strong mix-up game. But to make up for that, he has a lot of resources available to him, since he gains new cards every time he boosts. So I'm gonna have to remind myself what the heck Noel even has for options here. Getting rid of Bulletstorm early is probably the correct choice, though having Power of the Eye as an option is always great for setting up later plays, especially at the start of the game when you can usually force your opponent to burn hands so that they don't get hit by reading. So I'm a little sad that that dropped without being boosted. On the other hand, King Knight's range 2 options are a little goofy. He's got stuff like Healing Hammer available, but doesn't really help if he can't heal. Is this going to be a turn 1 crossplay? Oh, spin jump. I mean... it was a turn 1 crossplay for someone. But that's kind of a suspect play. Putting Noel in a position where she really needs to have her projectile available in order to close in. King also has very few options and seems to be throwing down the decree to close in. I presume, yes. Range 4 with +2 armor is an interesting option. So, King does have a range 4 option. If I remember what it is. It's Scepter Slam, it's his fast dive. This is actually a pretty huge threat. It's 7 power, and even if it runs directly into a focus, it has +2 armor to cash out on. So, realizing that we're in a rough position here, what is the best option for Noel? Thanks for following, Snow Katsune. Pairing Healing Hammer instead of the attack that is being telegraphed. Oh, even scarier, we have the X dive in hand. Are we just gonna slam that down? Because that feels like something you just slam down. Now, having the block is going to be a big problem here. Playing the X dive from hand. Makes sense. This is a dodge this or die. We had the second block. That makes this mildly worth it. It is a cost of 3 force that we have to expend here in order to block all the damage. If Noel has an Ultra in hand, this should be a pretty straightforward cost. Oh no. Far more expensive than it needed to be. Going for power early, makes sense. This is telegraphing a sweep since King Knight doesn't have a whole lot of options in that hand to deal with that. But he seems okay with taking the loss, as we are preparing to refill hand. Ooh, this is a really strong position to play sweep in with an ability like that. Curious to see what the cash outplay is here. Muzzle. Interesting. It works, it works. Safe play, gains advantage, gains gauge. I think friggin' War Guard would be funny here, but kind of a waste of resources, unfortunately. Noel has much harder time regaining resources. Spending the known focus. Spending the other known card. And a fairly expected prepare. Noel is currently in position where she needs to refill her hand. And the moment that she's at 6 or more cards, slam that Exceed mode. So we're probably going to be seeing a bit of back and forth here of just empty turns. Both players refilled. Onus on King Knight to do something interesting. So from a range 1 position, what do we have available to us? We have Sweep in hand, probably at this point in the game. We're down our better decree. What's this? Stratu and Boost. Got it. This is an extremely sensible play. This also is threatening a Speed 7 cross. Oh, I could also just remove the overlays if that's blocking things. Curious Exceed by Noel here, since we have a telegraphed crossplay. So unless she has Dive in hand... Oh! Expecting the cross and ended up losing Optic Barrel. On the upside, this is way better positioning. It's interesting to me that we keep threatening crossplays. With both Optic Barrels out of the equation, they're certainly a lot safer to play. Upside, this is the correct time for Noel to close to range 1 and throw something. Because as we all know, range 1 is the range where speed does not matter. Now this being said, I believe King has a cash-out play. If I recall. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of a different character that's like, if you have a boost in play, you get power. I think I am. I think I am thinking of a different character. Oh no. This is a extremely rich King of Cards play. We are spending 3 force on that. Will we spend the rest of the hand on it? Oh, this really feels like a situation where you just want to dump the whole hand. Are we missing a gauge here? Alright. Sense has been made in the world. I'm a bit lost here. Was it not just Rose's strike? I won't correct them if I'm wrong. Ah, prepare action does make sense with the sudden 5-card hand. Unfortunately, we're at a point in the game where playing fast does not actually help Noel's position, especially against that sweep that got pulled out. Deck sizes are small enough at this point that getting your second card is incredibly likely. Reasonable play by both players. Ross is about the only thing that can catch anything out at this point. Putting up speed once more. I'm unsure if Noel has the available resources to actually pull a comeback. Low hand size and low life is a cause for concern, especially against a character who is all economy. Now, King Knight is down, I think, 2 grasps, 1 cross, both sweeps, a focus. So on the normal side of things, it's becoming a little bit more dangerous for him to exist. Wild swinging into defend is quite a powerful option. I don't think Noel is going to get the payout that she needs. Well, this could have went way worse. Back at 4 gauge. Now the question is, how are we going to spend it? Unfortunately, I think the early information misplays, on top of just the wonderful, wonderful feeling of having King of Cards available in EX form, has really ruined Noel's ability to crawl her way back. If there's anything to help her win at this point, it's going to be deck comp, because I believe she has both her dodges and an ignore guard available at this point. I believe that's shift the opponent, and if they have gauge, you get some sort of advantage. Sure do. Oh, this would be a great time to play Soul, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, our options for defending at this point are incredibly limited. Tempted to call out Spike. Well, that makes game 1. Game night being Noel, which honestly I felt like that was mostly in King's favor from the start. Noel has tools, but they mostly exist to annoy King Knight, who has kind of bad but kind of reliable shapes. There's a certain value to being his level of mediocre. Pulling up the rosters again. We sing our Season 4 from Bana, so we're going to be seeing a Season 5 character? Yes, we are. So we'll be seeing Platinum versus Enchantress. Interesting. Means we get a nice Street Fighter matchup for our last game. So Platinum versus Enchantress. Both of them have very interesting levels of mobility and economy. Platinum does have the benefit of having a lot more damage spikes. Both of the ignore guard variety and in the sudden, oh god, my face is on fire variety. I'm interested to see what the Season 3 matchup's gonna be. I'm a big fan of Bana taking both Viper and Cammy, since they're both seen as the bottom of the barrel for Season 3. And when the bottom of the barrel is boost and strike as an action, it has a pretty good character. I think it would be humor to see Dan played, but I know that Rose is a pretty big Dan player. The question is, are we going to pull out Dan in the first match of the tournament? Hard to say. Alright, well, starting with a homing orb. Fairly reasonable starting play. So, I'm not the best Enchantress player, so I'm not going to be the greatest at explaining what the possible game plans are here. But I do think that Platinum's ability to gain benefits from striking is going to make Enchantress's life a lot harder. Enchantress does not hit very hard with any of her attacks, even her big cash-out Ultra. So the big question here is, how is she going to actually pull ahead? On the upside, she has a lot of mobility. On the downside, Platinum also has the ability to just pull range out of nowhere. So I think the ultimate goal is for Enchantress to... What's the best way to describe it? Try to work out Platinum's options. Because if we peek over here for a bit, Platinum has very strong options. Ooh, what's this? Not good enough to beat Assault. That's a big damage Assault too. And Defend is in play. Oh boy. Let's take a peek at Platinum's options. We have pretty safe projectile. Pretty safe enemy killing attack. Pretty safe enemy killing attack. And then a bunch of safety options on top of that. The general Platinum game plan is to either build up to her scary Exceed mode and have just the right options come up to abuse it, or just save the 4 gauge and slap your opponent with this wonderful attack that usually just straps on all the bonuses it needs so that you win this strike and the next strike. So, against a character who has just kind of funny attacks like, ooh, fast attack, funny attack, goofy range attack, sweep, and then some incredibly specific ranged cash outs. Options are just going to be very limited for Enchantress in terms of how she can defend against this onslaught. I'm humored by this assault into a spiral orb, just because we feel like slamming more and more assaults down. And that, pay attention to whether or not that was a wild swing. I assume it was. Oh, and there was a critical attack that got thrown out there. Alright, so Enchantress is trying to force herself to get rid of as many cards as possible so that she can eat away at Platinum's hand, which I believe is the correct option. You want Platinum to not have an information advantage. You want to reduce her options, because any boost that she gets may or may not end up working with her current hand. So the less options she has, the better. And Enchantress, I believe, will be drawing up to her full hand size at the end of this strike. Yes? No? Ah, good. the usual culprit. People not knowing how to play Season 4 characters. Because no one actually wants to play Season 4 characters except the really hard Season 4 stands. It's kind of unfortunate because there's some interesting concepts in Season 4. Unfortunately, having interesting concepts only works out so much. You can really attract the people who want fun and variance. But if you want the people who want like hardcore gameplay that plays the way that Exceed feels like it should play, Season 4 is going to disappoint them. But it's really nice that there are seasons that fit for each type of player. Platinum getting one of her best boosts in play, Pico Hammer. There is a technical downside to playing Pico Hammer, but since -1 power is cancelled out by having +2 armor, it's not really a downside. So I'm kind of curious why Rose decided to draw a card off of her sweep, her fake sweep, since Enchantress does get... Oh, it says if your hand is empty. See, I don't even know Season 4. I thought it was 0 or 1 cards. I can't help it. I'm stupid. Playing black and losing the other black. Very sad. Playing black into Pico Hammer is kind of a funny proposition. It means your opponent doesn't get the benefit off the armor, but you then have to block the extra 2 points of damage. Players getting their hand sizes up. And Enchantress playing probably the correct way to play in this matchup, getting power out there. Oh yeah, there was an Enchantress mirror in the very, very first tournament match. That was, there were so many mirror matches that happened, first of all. And it's great that Enchantress's weaknesses are both completely removed and yet multiplied by multiple factors. Because you now have 2 players who deal no damage to each other and draw a ton of cards. And so the goal is to either attempt to deck your opponent out before they do the same to you, or figure out where the heck you're getting damage from. We are getting... Wait, is that speed? What is this thing? It is speed. It's Magic Missile. I know the Platinum has a goofy card that's like minus speed. I think it's also plus guard. Range 1 Magic Missile is pretty strong. Oh, playing Reading on an unknown hand. Curious how cursed this is gonna be. Well, they didn't call Grasp and they didn't call Block. They read Spike. Interesting. Well... technically, that trade could have gone worse. Didn't go great. We are seeing Cure That Typhoon, which is mostly useful for Magical Cat Hammer. The attack itself is a bit lackluster. It is an anti-air though, so nothing else. Playing Reading into Grasp, of course. Oh, but Burning Gauge on Flying Charge. Let's hope the Force refund was worth it. Well, Platinum is a goofy hand, but she has a ton of gauge, so... not much to worry about there. Ah, of course, drawing the entire hand. Or just prepping. Oh, upside. The numbers are going pretty well for Enchantress. Downside, not with that hand that she's up against. Crossing the crossplay. This is where we slam down Magical Cat Hammer, right? Kind of funny to cross out here knowing that Magical Cat Hammer is available. Alternatively, what else are we going to do? We could draw cards. We could exceed. We could move to range 1. I'm not sure that I would have spent 3 gauge to move to range 1, but here we are. What is that telegraphing? I guess that's the question. We have focus, we have a safety play. And the corner is a good place for both of Platinum's mid-speeds. Boosting Destructive Force. I'm really curious what the state of attempting to gain an advantage is here. Courting Enchantress feels like a lost cause since she can just uncorner herself whenever she feels like it. And since Platinum is down both crosses, we are in a situation where things are going to be a little spicy. Not being able to just break out of the corner is going to be a problem. Let's see. Oh, unfortunately, Enchantress just has range specials. Yeah, that seems like the proper play. What's deck size looking like? Oh. I guess theoretically, Vanna could have guessed that Enchantress only had ranged attacks. But the chances of that happening felt very slim. Trying to think of what EX this could be. Have we seen Sweep? I guess this is Sweep. I assume it's Sweep. If it is Sweep, this is a pretty good place for it. Alternatively, have we seen all the Ultras yet? Well, clearly Banna knows what it is, which is putting us in an awkward situation. This is a question of how do we call out this attack? With no crosses, it's going to be a lot harder. Now, if it is Sweep, do we just throw the focus? In fact, if it's the Ultra, do we just throw the focus? If my brain hasn't completely shut off from lack of sleep, I would just say throw the focus here and accept the losses. Because, what's the damage on this? Yeah, I thought it was 6. Very, very poor amount of damage for 3 gauge. What's effectively just sweep but worse. I guess technically it's dive but better. Alright, we are playing the focus. It took a bit, but we got there. And it's the sweep. Getting rid of both dramatic Sammys. And losing the Ultra. Ooh, boy, the other Miracle Gene drops. So both Miracle Genes down. What is the option here? Do we A, reshuffle, B, drop a new hand, or C, do something really goofy? Well, I would say drawing into both Mommy Circulars is pretty good play. Players attempting to figure out how math works. I believe it was 2 gauge and 2 cards from hand, right? See, we got this. Enchantress deciding that Ultras are for suckers, and boy are they. Yeah, the hilarious thing about this is that this means Enchantress has, let's think about this. A full 60 cards to work with. And Platinum just reshuffled. We're gonna have a funny time. Platinum deciding this is enough pressure. Might be unironically true. Unless we draw the EX off of fresh hand. Now, EX isn't going to do a whole lot. But this does beg the question, what is the mix-up? Alright. It's a full 8-power sweep. So we'll be trading 7 into 3. Oh, I'm sorry. You need guard to get the power. I'm stupid. I can't do math. This is the curse of playing Exceed. Your brain starts to rot. Cards haunt your dreams. Everywhere you look, you think to yourself, is that a Blaze Blue? Am I a Blaze Blue? Delicious Fierce. The real unfortunate thing here is that Enchantress still needs to work for her victory. Especially when Mommy Circular EX is available to instantly end her life. Did Platinum skip her cleanup stuff? Did Bana forget to use the technically optional but probably not really optional ability? Will this be a misplay that costs the game? So the question of the day, how do we land Mommy Circular, and safely? Speaking of which... let's do speed and a retreat is actually going to make a whole lot of difference here. Especially when we're in a situation where we're one sweep away from passing out. Playing Dark Strife. Well, this puts us in an awkward spot. Platinum doesn't do well at range 6, and she really doesn't do well at range 8. Burning Dream Sally might be a mistake here. Moving to range 1 may also be a mistake here. There's a wonderful Dream Sally combo where you get yourself to range 3, and then you can choose whether or not you want to actually get rid of Magical Missile. I think this is an optional effect. Oh wait, no. I'm stupid. I'm thinking of Mystique Momo. Dramatic Sammy, parry, reveals Dive, and Mystique Momo. This is some passive-aggressive play that we're seeing. Jumping into range 1 and then drawing cards. This is definitely a question of what's the right play. The answer is whatever doesn't die to sweep. Have we a Spike? This might be the time to play Spike. It's a really good position to play Spike in, honestly. We don't play Mommy Circular. We just assume it's Sweep. It's Grasp. Like, the mix-up existed, but it really didn't. The mix-up was, what do I do to not die? Oh boy. Unsure if that even has any sort of value. That feels like fodder for Mystic Momo. So the question is, how do we chip down Enchantress to also be in I die in one hit range? Okay, okay. Good combo. Unfortunately, we're looking at options like Fire Wave, the big dive tackle attack, Homing Orb even. Oh no. Oh no. That's both dramatic Sammy's gone. This might not be a very winnable matchup. Oh, I can only imagine. Where would we be if EX Mommy Circular was played on the turn when we had to not die to sweep? These would be some very tilted life values. Mostly just trying to puzzle out how does Platinum get out of this position. Playing what's effectively +2 power is pretty decent, but yeah, that wasn't going to stay in play very long. I think unfortunately we are looking at Bana holding onto Mommy Circular as if it's going to do a whole lot at this point. It is high value card, but its value is significantly reduced if Enchantress just hugs the corner. Man, I was really hoping I'd get a nap today, but I found out that the frozen vegetables that I ordered, for whatever reason, have olive oil in them. And I think to myself, you have a bag of frozen vegetables. Why would you put anything else in them? Like, I know how to season my own food. I know how to cook my own food. I don't need extras tossed in there. And so instead of sleeping, I got to be horribly sick from consuming olive oil today. And I guess I'm just gonna say I can probably blame that for me being sick a couple nights ago as well. It feels like I can't just find something that's easy to consume without harming myself. Everyone's got to put things in things. I don't need any of that. Like, I literally pulled out my rice oil, and I cooked the vegetables in that, but it didn't really solve the problem. Oh... I can see the desperation play that is playing EX Focus. Flying charge was so easy. Yeah, that's a pretty untenable position to be in. 6 cards remaining, and I don't think any of them are going to help. So we're 1-1 on both players. So the question is, what's our Season 3 picks? Oh, Viper Vega. That's a hot matchup. These are both extremely risky econ characters. We're spending just the wrong amount will screw you in the end. I'm not entirely sure who I'd favor in this. Just off of gut feel, I would say, yeah, Vega. Vega's great. Vega can reposition anywhere he wants to, and that makes life really hard for Viper. But if his deck comp is just a little off, Viper can just drop what she's doing and just grab him and suplex him. Seeing a pretty hefty Viper mulligan, which is reasonable. And a prep, also reasonable. These are characters that don't really have great options to start the game with. Vega can jump in, but it's a question of why would he want to? The claw comes out. So we have Vega with plus range and the ability to have critical on whatever he wants. Viper says, heck no. This does leave her very open to pounce. Are we going to be seeing a Vega jump to the corner? Are we going to be seeing a Vega just punching Viper in the face? Viper doesn't really want to be range 1. It just happens to be a place that isn't at risk of getting eaten by Vega. Doing a bit of a stall play here. Defend pretty much ensures that whatever gets played will work. Pulling out the big armor. There we go. This feels like a pretty good opening sweep play. Interesting. Sultan to focus. Very minimal damage taken by both players, but Vega's resources get taxed. It seems like Bana's going for a resource game here. Goal's going to be to try to keep hand up while forcing Vega to spend poorly on Claw. Anytime Vega takes a turn to prep is a time that Viper can throw out a boost and strike him. The unfortunate thing is that range 1, our options kinda suck. You want a temple massage? We got temple massage. You want sweep? We'd rather save that for light. Grasping in this position? Pretty much loses to everything with Claw out. Oh boy, is this a defend temple massage? Because that would be funny. Really doubt it. Dive is lost. Interesting that we held on to dive instead of teching the Claw, but if the goal here is to force Vega to keep spending on Claw, it makes perfect sense to not do that. Returning the Claw, of course. We don't have to spend a sustain if we just put it into play. Unfortunately for Vega, Viper's in a pretty good position. Question is, do we have the boost to do anything? Huh. I believe that was a grasp I saw fall? Do we not want power? I'm not sure that I quite understand standing at range 1. This feels a bit suspect. Both of these players want to reach 3 gauge so that they can exceed. Getting to range 1 is just going to make that gauge easier for both players. And unfortunately, Viper gains a lot less value than Vega does. And we take the corner since the critical's free. So that's basically like having +3 power if he plays a special. +3? Do I mean +4? I mean +4. Unfortunately, I don't think Viper is spending enough turns gaining value. Considering that she gets a pretty strong resource influx when she exceeds, spending turns drawing cards, more or less, it limits your ability to exceed, because you want to draw as much as you can. So we're gaining resources with squandering actions. I can understand not wanting to be at range from Vega when Vega has plus range. Unfortunately, there's only so much time you can spend being afraid of certain things in play before they go from bad to worse. So really, we're looking at a way to defuse this without getting ourselves killed. So, what are our options? Do we have sweep? Can we play light? Light solves a lot of our problems in one fell swoop. Do we have something with the guard we can throw out? We do have something with the guard we can throw out. Now, do we have a safe attack at range 3? Unfortunately, the mix-up is basically everything can threaten you. Does Viper have great range 1 to 3 options? Not particularly. This might be a really funny sweep that we're looking at. Instead, we're looking at Burning Kick. Interesting that we kind of threw away Claw on this. I'm pretty sure that was 3 turns of Claw being out, maybe 4? But at least 3 turns of Claw being out and gaining no value. Critical at this range, I'm feeling pounds. Sky High. That's pretty unfortunate. Judging by this positioning, Viper's in a bit of a pickle. It's 1 force and 1 action for Vega to get into the corner. He's hacked most of his slows, though. So at this point, we're looking at dumb and disgusting attacks. You know, or grasp. So we're playing fast, though. Because Viper can still eat the other slow attacks that still exist in the deck. And so we decide to cut out the middleman here and say, we're just gonna win this strike regardless. What are we going to strike with, though? This actually be a really funny time for dive if Viper has the other one. Interesting. Why is Viper not closing in? Well, it was a bit of a weak play. On the upside, it was not critical, so at least there wasn't a waste of gauge. Vega into the corner. Into the spotlight. Well, this certainly feels like a turn where both players are going to exceed. Now we're going to see a matchup of a character who has spot bonuses on her own turn versus a character who has big passive bonuses on everybody's turn. And I believe that's going to make things kinda hellish. Whew, interesting. Throwing out stylish. I suppose if there was a good time to play stylish, it would be right now. So, knowing that we have stylish, and knowing the Vega's in the corner, we're looking at this horrifying attack. So we want to not get hit by that. Because 6-speed Scarlet Terror is going to become 7-speed Scarlet Terror if Vega exceeds. Thankfully, it's really easy for Viper to come up with an answer. Unfortunately, it's really easy for Vega to also come up with an answer. So whatever Bana does here, it's going to pretty much decide whether or not he wins or loses the game. Trying to think, and for the love of God, I'm not entirely sure if there's any good move for Viper to make here. It feels like you play light, And then you threaten mix-up between... What even? Spike and combination? Like, unfortunately, the very lovely Fierce into MCOM is incredibly unreliable when the opponent has an attack that just happens to be faster than yours. Very curious to see if this game survives past what I assume is going to be a strike here. So I have to say, I think this is the most unusual Sea Viper game I've seen played. Though, that being said, I've only really seen one specific person play a whole lot of Sea Viper. And despite the fact that I really do enjoy the quote-unquote bottom tiers of the Street Fighter season, I don't play Sea Viper nearly that much. And I know my playstyle differs incredibly from other players I've seen. So I feel like Sea Viper is one of those characters that's like, who are you as a person? How do you express yourself? It's like a lovely rainbow of different player abilities. Different ideas of how to handle the weird and unwieldy set of cards that you've been given. Do you spend your emergency combinations to get more gauge? Do you play them with Fierce to threaten big 7-power attacks? Do you utilize critical burning kicks? And here comes the mix-up to end all mix-ups. We guess right. Things go great. We guess wrong. And... So we are looking at +6 power for Vega. I believe +6, yeah. So if he throws the 6-speed and it lands, that's... Oh my lord, we are wild swinging. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Instead of calling the mix-up, we let the deck do it for us, and it decides to call neither side of the mix-up. Impressive. Even better, I don't think Bana called either side of the mix-up. So what were we looking at? We're looking at just 6-speed attack, or what, pounce? I'm not even sure if there was a way to call out pounce. I mean, yeah, hold on. It was Spike. Spike was the other side of the play, because that calls out pounce. So we played Dive, which loses to pounce. but also loses to Scarlet Terror. What kind of mastermind play was this? Neither player called the mix-up. Oh god, you're right. Dive does technically beat the Scarlet Terror. Okay. For what it was worth, I wasn't expecting Vega to still be in his base mode. Not with 4 gauge. Oh man, if this isn't a telegraphed Thunkel. I guess this is technically a mix-up, but the mix-up just says, don't play a slow. Oh my lord, we're spending more gauge. It worked. That's a 6 power swing right there. The answer to don't play a slow is play the fastest thing you've got. Oh. Can't escape. Oh, and that's both lights and both Thunkles. Now we're done with this game. We're going to be spending at least a turn reshuffling. There's no way. What are you going to do? You got a block engage as well. Like, we're down defenses. And we don't have offense. We have 0 pressure right now. We have 0 current pressure, we have 0 potential pressure. And Vega's got enough gauge to just be like, yo, here's this wonderful Ultra I hope you like dying. This Viper also has no reversals. There's no good move here. How many cards do we have left in deck? There is one good move. It is throw away everything. Throw away literally every resource you have and draw a new hand. We do not have any pressure without a new hand. Like, what do we have? Do we have reading? I don't even think we have reading. No, we're throwing the game. Yep. I feel like that was like one of the only 2 reasonable options there, which is really unfortunate. I was really hoping the Viper could take that game. It just was not meant to be. Well, that's gonna set the scores for 2 for Rose and 1 for Bana for their respective teams. I don't believe anyone else on their teams have played yet. So we're looking at a potential 7 points for one team and 8 points for another team, depending on how well things go for them. But that will be it for this night's event. I'm hoping that I'll be able to cast more matches soon. But before then, I will need to move out of my apartment. And that might take a while. So, we'll see how long it takes for me to make our return. Anyways, bye-bye for now.